3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on him shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. So it's very important that you believe in Jesus as the Son of God and that his Father raised him from the dead. That is the miracle of the resurrection. Now, a lot of folks don't believe that. But I come today to prove to you that Jesus got up from that grave. See, Jehovah's Witnesses don't want to talk to me. Muslims don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to me because my faith is in the Word of God. And when all these folks going around with these watchtowers and they going around with these little Muslim books, that's because they cannot refute the Word of God. You cannot erase what history has already put in place. And the Bible is clear that Jesus got up from that grave. This is on the doctrine of resurrection. That's what this lesson is about. It's the act of raising from the dead and returning to life. This letter was written in the city of Corinth to the Corinthian church. Now, Corinth was a Greek city. Now, the Greeks did not believe in the resurrection of the dead. And once when Paul preached in Athens about Christ's resurrection, the Bible in Acts 17:32 said they laughed at him. Now, most Greek philosophers, they considered the human body as a prison. So they welcomed death. They wanted to die. So they thought that that would be their deliverance from bondage because they didn't believe in life after death. But see, as believers, we believe in life after death. See, they didn't believe that after you die, you go back to your Father and you got to stand in judgment for your right and your wrong, and that you will have a life after death. The Greek philosophers did not believe in that. And somehow this attitude has invaded the church. Folk who used to sing, near my God to thee, he wouldn't come down from the cross. Now they say, well, maybe y'all right. Maybe he didn't really get up. Now when you start thinking that, you on your way to a backslidden condition. So the Apostle Paul faces them head on and told them, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. He got up from that grave. Now, Paul said to these believers, I assure you he got up. He showed himself to James first. James was his half brother. And at first, his brother did not believe in him. Now, it'll be hard to believe in your little brother. You know, they sitting in the living room, and he talking about mama. Jesus went out there, and he done touched that light bulb. Dad stepped on it, and the light bulb found me, and came back to life. Mama, did you see Jesus down there on the pond? He down there walking on the water. He's snitching on his brother, but he don't realize that his brother is the Son of God. You see what I'm saying? And so when Jesus got up from the ground, he showed himself to his brother. Man, I told you I was Jesus. I told you I was the Son of God. And that's when the book of James was written. He became one of the great authors of the New Testament. Once he accepted Jesus, not just as his earthly brother, but as the very Son of God. And so he showed himself to over 500 more people. But last of all, he showed himself to me. Paul said in verse 8, I am the least of the apostles. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I persecuted the church and Christ. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. I mean, I feel like I don't even deserve to be here. I feel like God could have called anybody but Leon Jones. But he looked beyond my faults and he saw my need. And he called me to do what I do. And so I know for my fact, I know for a fact myself that Jesus got up from the grave. And so Paul is fighting against a false doctrine concerning the resurrection of Jesus Christ. He goes on to say now, if you don't believe that Jesus got up, I'm going to show you what's happened to you. If Jesus had not got up from the grave, number 1, verse 12, we would have no foundation. We wouldn't have nothing to stand on. If he was just a man like everybody else, we wouldn't have nothing to stand on. We wouldn't have no foundation. Paul tells us that if there's no resurrection and Jesus didn't rise again, everything we believe in and been taught about Jesus Christ and his church would be worthless. Everything that grandmama and them taught us about the law will make a way somehow, it would be nothing. We would not have no foundation if Jesus hadn't got up from the grave. You must believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. No matter who asks you, no matter who try to discourage you about your belief system, you have to stand on what you believe. Now, let me stick a pin right there for a minute and just come on down your lane. See, until a lot of us, we feel like that Jesus ain't real. We feel like Jesus ain't with us because we having problems. We feel like Jesus ain't with us because we're going through the storm and the rain. But a lot of times, the reason why you got problems and the reason why you're going through the storm and rain is not because Jesus didn't get up. It's because you have not accepted responsibility in your life. It's because you determined that you're going to live like you want to live and you're going to do what you want to do and can't nobody say nothing about it. You're not catching hell because Jesus didn't get up. You're catching hell because you're not living for Christ. You got to change the way you live. You got to change the way you handle yourself. You got to change the way you act. That's the reason why you catching hell. It don't mean that Jesus ain't got power. Because I'm going to tell you something, everybody in here, you better hear me when I say Jesus got power. Because if Jesus didn't wake you up this morning, your alarm clock will still be going off. But will still be knocking on your door. Talking about where you at. The only reason why any of us in here, don't you look at me like you all at in a bag of chips. We are saved by grace and mercy. And there ain't nobody in here this morning that has done right all yesterday. I mean, you done done something wrong. You done said something wrong. You done did something wrong. But you got up this morning because Jesus got power to raise us up. Can I get some help up in here? And if you don't believe in the foundation of Jesus Christ, you ain't got to understand. Quit going around here like you all that. I'm only here because Jesus let me be here. It ain't got to do with no education. It ain't got to do with the fact you can sing. It ain't got to do with the fact you can preach the word. The only reason why any of us here is because Jesus let us be here. And the only reason why you didn't get the best out of your life is because you won't get yourself together. You still want to be foolish. You still want to be a gossiper. You still want to be a backbiter. You still want to be a liar. You still want to be a fornicator. You still want to be a doctor. You still want to sneak in back doors and come out a side door. And then think that God will bless you. But if you really want God to bless you, you will have to start living like you want God. How many folks in here? You want God to bless you. And if you want God to bless you, you will have to live like God said to you. See, if he didn't get up, there wouldn't be no foundation. Number two, if he didn't get up, we wouldn't have no faith. See, my hope is built on nothing less but Jesus' blood and his righteousness. I dare not trust in the sweetest frame, but I wholly depend on Jesus' name. If you don't believe that Jesus got up, your faith is in vain. It ain't even no need to preach. It ain't no need to teach. We didn't have a reason to sing a song and a hymn. What you gonna sing, this little light of mine? If you don't believe that the light got up from the grave, we must believe that Jesus got up from the grave. That's what our faith is built on. And you don't never let nobody shake you. See, a lot of folks want to shake you. They tell you what church you go to, and they act like they all that. They tell you that I'm a brother. My name used to be Leon Jones, but now it's Leon Muhammad. Well, just because you change your name ain't gonna change your ways. You got to change your ways, even if you don't change your name. Can I get some help up in here? So you got to believe in your faith in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You wouldn't have no faith. And I'm gonna tell you something else. If you don't believe Jesus got up, you fake. That's what the Bible says, verse 15. If you don't believe Jesus got up on the grave, man, you fake. What you sitting up in here for? This ain't no place for Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they can't stand the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. They don't want you to say nothing about Jesus. So if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you sit up in here, I'm going to make you mad. Because every now and then I'm going to say, Jesus. Every time, Jesus. You don't need to be no Muslim and you sit up in here. Because I ain't going to say assalamu alaikum, but I'm going to say, I know the Lord is all right. See, you don't need to be in here if you don't believe in the resurrection. You'll be fake. You'll be false witnesses. See, talking about Jesus alive and well. Jesus will make a way out of no way. How is Jesus going to make a way out of no way and he's still dead. Jesus ain't dead. Jesus is alive. And I tell you something else, he ain't sick. He alive and well. Hallelujah. Yeah, and so if Jesus didn't get up, there would be no foundation, no faith. We would be fake. But this is very important. If Jesus didn't get up from the grave, there will be no forgiveness. And verse 17 says you will still be in your sin. See, let me help y'all understand. See, everybody in here, you got an X in front of your name. Get out this left to the street. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Everybody here got an X in front of your name. I don't care nothing about you being dressed up. I don't care nothing about your Bible match your shoes. You used to be something. I wish I had some help. And the truth be told, a lot of us still leaders. But if Jesus didn't get up from the grave, it wouldn't be no forgiveness. We'd be walking around. You know what? I don't care nothing about folks talking about what I used to do and what I used to say and what I used to go. Yeah, I may not be what I ought to be, but I'm so glad today. I know I'm not what I used to be. Can I get some help over here? I might not be everything I'm gonna be, but I'm better than what I used to be. Do I have any help in here? How many folks in here know you better than what you used to be? How many know God removed that X from your name because God forgave you of your sin? I don't know about y'all. I can't really think of nothing bad I did yesterday because I was with my wife all day and I was stuck in the house all day. I ain't have to cuss nobody out. I ain't have to talk about nobody. I didn't do nothing to nobody because I was in the house. But when you come out in the world, folks will make you go there. Folks will make you drink. And I get some help. And so sometimes you need God to forgive you. How many of y'all in here like me? Every now and then I need the Lord to forgive me of my sin. How many of y'all feel like me? How many of y'all know if it weren't for the Lord, I feel like Boston say today? How many of y'all know if it weren't for the Lord who was on your side, you don't know where you would be? How many of y'all know the devil be swinging at you, trying to knock you down? But every time he swings at you, Jesus snap in the middle and take the lid for you. I put your hands up heaven and him. If it weren't for the Lord, we were on the outside. We couldn't make it. If this man didn't get up from the grave, you will still be in your sin. I'm so tired of these want to be theological folk. Talk about you can lose your salvation. I stayed up at 3 o'clock in the morning talking with some folk in Jamaica. How in the world you gonna lose something you didn't buy? You didn't do nothing to save yourself. Ephesians 2 and 8, for we are saved by grace and not by works, lest any man should boast. Now, I'm not saying that that's antinomianism. I'm not giving you a license to sin, but when you do sin, it's already been covered by the blood of the Lamb. I wish I had some help. I'm so glad that I'm covered by the blood of the Lamb. I ain't got to get baptized every time I do something wrong. I ain't got to rejoin church every time I do something wrong. A lot of folks be walking up to church and